Welcome back to the Immigration Answers Show. My name is Jim Hacking. I'm an immigration attorney practicing law throughout the United States, out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. Hope you all are doing well. Today's Thursday, the last show of the week. We will do shows on Monday, Memorial Day. That'll be a solo show for me. And then on Tuesday I think we're going to do it at 2 p.m. So it's a little bit of a crazy schedule next week. We will not have shows on Wednesday and Thursday. So it's just Monday and Tuesday next week. Hope you all have a nice long weekend plan for Memorial Day here in the States. Many people are off work on Monday for Memorial Day. I'll be chilling with Nor over the weekend, and Amani. Nor has softball, and we don't have a lot of plans, which is nice because we've been out a lot lately. Amani was traveling last weekend, and we've got a lot going on. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from, and if you could, let us know where what your plans are for the weekend. If you're going to do anything fun over Memorial Day, go ahead and let us know. My colleagues, Huli and Romel, are in the waiting room. They're going to take care of you on the comments. I'm glad to see you guys. How are you?
Hi, Jim.
Good to see you. So I am doing this show without Daniel, so I'll rely on you guys to manage the comments. Go ahead and drop the link so that people can come on into the waiting room, and
Yes, sir.
we'll go from there. How are you guys doing?
Well, it's a cold day in Argentina here. It's been really cold. I think July is like, well, I don't know how much it's in Fahrenheit, but it's cold.
It's very low today. So we're freezing, but it's good. We had an awesome day. I see a lot of people joining already on the chat. So I'm glad Rocio's in the house. We have Daniel too. So he can get away from the show. We are
Even when,
addicted to the immigration answer show.
even when he's not on, he's watching, so it's great.
Yeah.
Now, tomorrow we have sort of a fun law firm event planned, and I think you guys are participating down in Argentina. We're going to watch an immigration movie as a team, and it's called Far and Away. So it's a movie from like the early 1990s, directed by Ron Howard. It has Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, and it tells sort of an immigrant story back in the good old days when it was much easier to immigrate to the United States, at least for white Europeans. That's what the movie's about. It should be a fun movie. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes long. We're all going to meet here in St. Louis at a little auditorium, and we're going to have popcorn. I don't know about you guys.
I'm going to have my popcorn.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yes, of
ready.
course.
I'm going to have
Wh-
my
What
movie
do you
set.
prefer, Jim? Sweet or salt popcorn?
Oh yeah, no, I'm all salt popcorn. I like regular movie style popcorn. We actually have we were going to bring it in, but this place has one. We actually have a movie theater popcorn popper in our house.
Okay, I'm going to give you an idea, Jim. I love it. What I do, my salt popcorn, I add pieces of chocolate. So when
Yeah,
it's
that's
hot popcorn, it will melt, and so you have the chocolate cover with the popcorn cover with chocolate. It's delicious. So
my
Julia, I'm
father.
on a diet.
um,
Come
Oh,
on,
you're good,
please.
Romel. Good. Yeah, that's what I need to be. But my dad used to buy a Snickers bar and cut it up into eighths, and then he'd stack that
oh,
inside the popcorn. Yeah,
oh, I love that.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Jim, we have here in the comments that people want to know how did it went on the trial N336.
Oh yeah. So I had my N336 hearing. So this is so one thing about N336 is, so this is, if you weren't watching yesterday, when your naturalization case gets denied, you have 30 days to file a form called an N336. An N336 is an administrative appeal, and it's
Mm,
sort of the step that you have to take before you go to a federal judge. And typically it means going down the hall and asking an officer to decide that their friend who they work with, and they might not be friends, but that their colleague made a mistake. And so in this case, they had denied my client citizenship because he's got a lot of little things, traffic mostly, one
mm.
arrest, and the officer who originally handled the case, she said that my client lied. There's no evidence that he lied. And so this officer that we had, she's been down in St. Louis for a really long time. Some people find her difficult. I sort of get a kick out of her. We were laughing because a long time ago she came into the office and she had a new last name, and I said, "Oh, congratulations! Did you get married?" And she said, "No."
No.
She said, "I got divorced, but you can congratulate me anyway because I needed to get away from that guy." So we were laughing
She was
about that.
happy still.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing about this particular officer is, she was really tough on me for the first couple of years, and I think she sort of does that until she gets to know you, and then after that, we sort of have side conversations, and we were looking over the records together, and I was just sort of telling her what our position was, and we had a nice little brief that Tim and or that Andrew and the intern Tyler had sort of prepared on why this guy should get his citizenship. I think she's going to approve it. I think she's going to reverse the decision and give him his citizenship. It was interesting because this particular guy, he was from Bosnia, and he was telling me sort of his life as a teenager in Bosnia during the war. So he was really nervous. I got there 15 minutes early, but he was calling the office. Huli probably can tell you. He was calling the office saying, "Where's Jim? Is he coming? Is he coming?" And like I walked in, and he was on the phone with the office saying, "Where's Jim?" I was 15 minutes early. It's not like I was 15 minutes late. So yeah, we got him squared away. I think he's in good shape, and I hope that we can add one more to this particular client who
Yeah.
I've actually represented him since 2008 when we first opened. He was a friend of Adela's, and we helped bring his wife and kids over from the Netherlands and or from Bosnia, and it's a long history that I have with him. In fact, there's a picture over in conference room B, and if he gets approved, I'll take a picture of me with this old picture of he and I, and I'll sort of tell the story through that old picture.
Oh, you should do that.
Yeah. Yeah, he there used to be a Bosnian you guys might not know this. So Bosnia is a little country in Europe, and they had the war in Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, the old Yugoslavia, and a lot of people from Bosnia settled in St. Louis. So St. Louis has more Bosnians than any other city in the world outside of Bosnia. There's like 60 or 70 or 80,000. So Adela is from Bosnia. Umra, who works with me, is from Bosnia. And so
I didn't know about that, about Amra too.
yeah, so St. Louis is a refugee resettlement city through this great organization called the International Institute. And
Mm.
because of that, we have a lot of refugees here in St. Louis, and they've really helped stabilize the area. They own a lot of businesses. They've sort of helped build up some neighborhoods that were sort of run down. And so when Adela, the reason I hired Adela in the first place was because I knew that I was going to start doing immigration. I knew that there were a lot of new Bosnian immigrants, and I knew that I needed someone who could speak Bosnian to
Mm.
the clients. And it's funny because Adela just did this the other day, but it's been a really long time since Adela's had to talk to a lead in Bosnian, because now most of the ones who are of a marrying age, they've already done that. So it probably be a couple more years, and then there'll be another round of us getting more Bosnian immigration work.
Yes, I was actually who sent her the lead, the Boston lead.
Oh,
I
you were?
could the sir didn't understand a word of what I was saying, and all what he said was Bosnian, Bosnian. I speak Bosnian, and well,
Yeah.
Adela.
Yeah, they used to have you got they used to call up and say Bosnian girl, Bosnian girl. Like that would be the way that we would know what you just said, Romel. And I remember, I'll tell you one other funny story about Adela was one day I was doing a consult, and it was a marriage-based case, and I told the lady whatever the fee was. I think back then it was $3,000. And she said in Bosnian, she said to Adela, "Hey, what if we cut him, meaning me, out of the deal? I'll pay you 1,500, and you do it on the side, and just give me all the forms."
Oh my God.
Can you believe it?
People are no, no. I think that's amazing when people try like to. I know if you don't have your budget, but you're hiring someone that knows, that has experience on this, why you doing this by yourself?
Mm.
Like I've been doing this because I'm passing through this immigration thing with my mom. My sister is requesting for her before I even enter working at hacking. And it's a long process. It's not easy, and it really needs to be treated with an attorney because you guys know, and I learn a lot here in hacking, and it's it's like taking something heavy out of your back
Mm.
and giving it to people that knows how it works, all the system, because there's a system that only an attorney knows, so it's easier. Well, for
Another,
you guys.
another thing that we used to really laugh about was people would ask Adela. By the way, there's nobody in the waiting room, so that's why we're talking so long, because no one's in the waiting room. So this is a great chance for you. if you want to come on the show and talk to me, this is like your best chance ever, because there's only one person in the waiting room and they're not on camera. So I think they're just hanging out, which sometimes happens. But one of the other things that used to happen, you guys, was people would be talking to me about the case. Adela would be translating. And then they would say, "Hey, Adela," and this is all in Bosnian, "is he a good lawyer? Like, should we actually hire him?" And she's like, "What am I going to say? No, he sucks. Get out of here." I mean, why would that ever happen? So yeah, it's been an interesting ride. We don't have nearly as many Bosnian clients as we used to. So many of them have become citizens, and we've done a lot of marriage-based cases, but the Bosnians that I've met are really hardworking, really dedicated people. I mean, I don't know anybody that works harder than Adela. Adela ran payroll at 1 a.m. last night, and I got to work today at 7:20, and she was already here ahead of me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I it's amazing all the immigration stories everyone have passed through different things. It looks like the same, but it's not. Everyone has different experience. Some
yep.
obviously are good that unfortunately we are able to help. Okay, I'm already talking to my lawyer. Okay, Zach, you can call me. I'm gonna leave the number and I could put you through with one of our intake specialists. Okay.
All right, guys, I'll go ahead and let you go. It looks like the waiting room's is heating up, so let me go ahead and let you guys go. Thanks for hanging out with me, especially without Daniel. So it's always nice to talk to you guys. And Juli, I'm excited to hear about your plan for having us be the only ones answering our phones. That'll be a big day.
Yeah, that will be awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Okay.
bye.
All right. That was Romel and Juli. Always glad to see them. Let's get this show started and say hi to Rehab. Hi, Rehab.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing? I'm having a hard time hearing you. Let me
Okay,
turn up
let
the
me
volume
put
a
my
little bit.
headphones on then.
Okay. That sounds like a good deal. You don't see many pink headphones these days.
Hi.
Oh, that's much better. Thanks so much.
Okay, good.
How can I help you?
I have a really simple question. My fiance was granted his K1 visa in Turkey, and so now we're just making arrangements for him to come here.
Nice.
So the question is, does he absolutely have to leave from Turkey to come to the U.S., or can we, for example, meet in Malaysia for a couple of weeks and then fly back here together? So is it contingent on leaving from the country where the visa was issued?
Here's what I would say.
Mhm.
And I say this as someone who's Muslim, who's married to someone from a Muslim country. Like if you wanted to raise your hand and say, "Hey, pay attention to me," you'd tell your Turkish fiance to go to Malaysia before he comes to the United States. It's like that's like the perfect way to put a big bullseye on his back and subject him to a whole lot of scrutiny that I think would actually continue after he entered the United States. I mean, I
Wow.
think you're just I don't think there's a rule that requires him to leave from Turkey, but I would get him his green card before you start messing around with Malaysia, just because I've been in FBI interviews where people visited Malaysia or came from a Muslim country, went to another one before they came. I think you're just inviting yourself a whole lot of headaches.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, it was a very straightforward process, and it took about 9 months, and he was granted the visa. So
That's great. That's
yeah.
great. Out of Ankara. That's great because things have been slow. So I'm
I
glad to hear.
know.
I'm glad to hear when more easily for you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense, because I actually don't trust if I called the National Visa Center and got an answer from. I wouldn't trust their answer, to be honest with you.
That's something that you'd never be able to get a firm answer out of them, and whatever anyone said to you wouldn't be binding. So I think that we need to be realistic about what information we can rely upon from government officials when we talk to them. I mean, that's if he gets stuck outside the United States, or if they make his life hard, they turn him over to not turn him over, but if they tell the FBI, "Hey, pay attention to this guy," that's not something you're ever going to be able to get out of a government bureaucrat, either before or after it happens.
Right. Yeah, and I also read on the U.S. CIS website that a fiance visa, once we get married, would as we go through the process of getting the green card and all that, that it would be a 3-year wait after that to get citizenship, right?
Yeah. So here's what'll happen. So whenever he comes to the United States, you'll have 90 days to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get married, you'll apply for a green card, a temporary work card, and a travel document. Those will probably take, the work and travel card will probably take 6 months or so. So he's sort of, we call him bubble boy. He's sort of on the shelf for a while. He can't really do much. He can't really leave, and he can't really work. So, but eventually you'll have your green card interview. He'll get his green card. You'll have been married less than 2 years, so he'll get a 2-year green card. So at the end of those 2 years, you'll have to file what's called an I-751 petition to remove conditions. And then they'll automatically extend his green card by 2 years. Hopefully by the time he goes through this, they'll have gotten that processing time down. Right now it's taking 2 years to approve that. You can apply after that 3rd year for citizenship, but we've been telling people wait until the 751 is approved before you file for citizenship, but some people still go ahead and file it.
Okay. All right. I appreciate your show. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Rehan.
Yeah.
Nice
And where
talking
is
to
your
you.
wife from? I was wondering, you always refer to Amani.
Yeah, she's from Egypt.
Egypt.
Yeah, we met in law school. She came to America when she was 7 because in the 60s they had amended the Immigration and Nationality Act to let brown people come to the United States. Her dad was a doctor, and they moved to Chicago so he could work, I think, in emergency rooms in Chicago.
Wow. Fantastic. Thank you.
Good luck. Thanks, Rehab. See ya.
Bye.
All right. I wanted to reference a post. If you're not a member of our Immigrant Home Facebook group, please make sure that you join our Facebook group. I wanted to show this picture that caught my attention. I don't know if you can see it, but that's Tekla, who's a member of our Immigrant Home Facebook group, and Tekla was very sad. And I'll read to you what she said. The picture really caught my eye. So if you join Immigrant Home in Facebook, you'll see it. She said, "Me and my husband did our interview. They gave us a paper that has hold for review checked. We never got approved on the spot. I am so stressed." Tekla, don't be stressed. There are so many reasons why your case might not have been approved on the spot. That's not unusual, especially these days. I would say that I should probably do a survey. Maybe people in the comments can say something, but for the people that have received a green card, Rocio, that's you. People who've received their green card, did you get approved on the spot or not? Why don't you guys go ahead and leave us a comment? But I bet it's under 50% get approved on the spot for sure. I would think it's less than 50%. So I wouldn't sweat it. I wouldn't be sad. Tekla, hang in there. You're going to get that green card. I wouldn't be worried about that. All right. So let's go ahead and say hi to Mohammed. Hi, Mohammed.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I just want to mention one thing before I ask my question. In the beginning, the waiting room it was not working, so I tried multiple times. It wasn't let me in. But now it's working pretty much.
Thanks for letting me know.
You're welcome, sir. I went to the DMV to renew my stolen driving license, and I received with my new card the voting restoration in Virginia. I'm 100% sure I did not collect that I'm a U.S. citizen. I have an asylum here. I did not check the box. I did not do anything, but I still I got it. I called them. They said they asked me for my SSN. I give it to them. They said there is nothing for me on the record. What should I do?
So the voter registration notice that you received, did it have your name and address on it?
Yes.
Okay. So you need to figure out what the state agency is. In Missouri, it's the Secretary of State. Each state does it differently, but whatever state agency is in charge of elections, you need to notify them in writing, and you need to send it by certified mail or Federal Express saying that, hey, I'm returning this voter registration card. Now you got to make a copy of everything because you might need to prove this later. So it's very important that you do exactly what I say. So you want to make a copy of the voter registration card. You want to write them a letter that says, hey, my name's Mohammed. I am not a U.S. citizen. I did get a driver's license, and you guys sent me this voter registration card. I've never made a claim to be a U.S. citizen. I am not a U.S. citizen. I should not have received this voter registration card. I am returning it back to you. Then you keep a copy of that letter. You keep a copy of the notice. You send it by return receipt requested certified mail at the post office. Then you keep all that proof because you're going to need that later if they ever ask whether or not you voted or registered to vote. You can always say, no, I didn't, but you want to document it. Just calling them now does you no good 5 years from now or 6 years from now when you want to be a citizen. So it's really important that you do it exactly like I said. Figure out what state agency in Virginia is in charge of elections. Send them back the actual voter registration card, but keep a copy, have a cover letter, and make sure you keep all that together along with the proof that it got delivered, because you don't want them ever to be able to say that you registered to vote on purpose, that you told them that you were a U.S. citizen, or that you voted.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Good luck, Mohammed.
Thank you.
See you, buddy.
See you.
You know, this actually happens more often than you would think. It's really a problem. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of everybody voting. I think if everybody in America voted, we wouldn't have little kids in Texas getting shot up in their elementary school. I think that if everybody who was eligible voted, we would have immigration reform. I think that the majority of people are good-hearted and well-intentioned, and if we could only get them all to vote, that this country would be a whole lot different. I'm a big proponent for that. So I am glad when more people vote and more people register to vote. But whenever I see things getting easier, like to register to vote, I'm always worried about the non-citizens. I'm always thinking, well, that sounds good that you're going to automatically register people who get their driver's license or register for college or whatever, that we're automatically going to register them to vote. I understand the mentality, but I've seen too many situations where immigrants have gotten themselves in trouble by registering to vote, even if it's by mistake. In fact, when I was a baby immigration lawyer, we did a clinic. All the St. Louis immigration lawyers were all meeting. I probably told this story before. We were all meeting at a church basement, trying to fill out N-400s for people. And we were just about to close up shop, and there were like 7 immigration lawyers there. And this guy showed up, and he said that the same thing that happened to Muhammad, that he had received a notice in the mail that it was time to register to vote. So he filled out the notice, and then he got a notice in the mail that said it was time for him to vote. And he went ahead and voted when he only had a green card. And so everybody at the naturalization day told him that he couldn't ever apply for citizenship, even though it wasn't his fault, that was a deportable offense, and that would get him in trouble, and that he's going to be sort of stuck not applying for citizenship for the rest of his life. And that was sort of a bummer. All right, let's see who's still here. Let's say hi to DT. Hi, DT.
Hi, Jim. On Monday, I was on here. And to recap, my girlfriend is from the Philippines on a J1 visa. And
I remember.
Married. Okay. And so we looked at her DS 2019, and the box for the 2-year residence is checked. Mm-hmm. And below that, the box for the requirement based on the exchange visitor skill list is checked. Neither of the other 2 boxes are checked, the government financing nor the PL 94. And so since neither the Philippine government or the US government is funding her, if we get married, can we file a waiver for her to stay rather than go back for the 2 years?
Well, everyone can apply for a waiver. I mean,
Okay.
just even if it's those boxes are checked, everyone can do that. The question is whether it'll be granted. So I think what I told you on Monday, if not, I'll tell you now, is you really need to research this agency that provided the funding and provided the means for her to come, and then you need to talk to other people. I'm sure there are J1 chat boards where you can say, hey, who had a J1 through this agency? How hard did they fight? Sometimes they'll let you pay money to get out of it. There's lots of sort of horse trading that goes on. So you need to do your research.
Okay. And I know she dealt with an agency and a visa sponsor. Is it the agency?
It's the agency. It's the agency that's listed on the DS 2019 in the upper right-hand corner, about a third of the way down the page.
Okay. And there are indeed several dozen teachers from the Philippines, but they all came at the same time. So their visas will be up at the same time too. So yeah, I should look into that. And I understand that the school district applied for H-1Bs for them. And so if they did it in April, they'll be hearing from back in May and June. Is that right?
Well, the employer should know by now whether the H-1B was selected.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
we submitted 15 and 3 got selected. So we've already been told yes or no. Now, they have historically the last couple of years with this new lottery system, they've rerun the lottery a few times, but I don't think anybody should really count on that.
Okay. And if their visas are expired next June of 2023, they can't. Oh, will they be able to file again if they weren't selected for another H-1B next year? Or
They can, but they won't have a bridge to get them to October, so they'll probably have to leave and get a visa overseas.
okay, all right. And with the H-1B, is that those are 3-year non what are they called?
They're dual intent visas. They're for 3 years. Yeah, and then they can be renewed for another 3 years.
Okay. And then if they get selected for that, do they still have the 2-year home residency?
Yeah, but I think they can do it after. I haven't looked. Let me think. I know for an F1 you have to go home. I would imagine for an H-1B they'd have to go home anyway.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I need to look into the agency and find out just from chats how successful people were at getting out.
Yeah, and then you got to reach out to the agency and see what their position would be. Would they fight you?
Uh-huh. Because I understand she doesn't owe, or she got her funding from the agency, connected them with a loan agency, and so
they might be more willing to play ball. I'd also research whether Philippines will give a no objection letter or not. That's another thing, and I would bet with a nurse. Isn't she a nurse?
Teacher.
A teacher?
Special education.
Yeah, I would bet with a teacher they're going to want her to come back to the Philippines, so they might fight too.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, DT.
Thank you very much, Jim.
See you, buddy.
I see you.
All right. Let's say hi to Camilla. Hi, Camilla.
Hi.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. My question is very basic. I had my M400 interview yesterday. I was stuck for a year during the pandemic year in Colombia, and I obviously pay my rent, my taxes, my car, my apartment, everything, for restriction reasons due to the pandemic. And I passed the test, but she wasn't capable of giving me a decision, even though I showed supported documents from doctors and stuff because I got sick during the pandemic year. Now they said that they're gonna reply to me within some days the final decision. How do you see a case like this? Is the USCIS taking into consideration the struggle that some of us have lived during the pandemic? If we were inside.
What efforts did you make while in Colombia to come back to the United States sooner than 6 months? Or how much documentation did you provide to USCIS explaining why you didn't come back?
Well, the first one was that the country shut down, and then when they reopened, only Spirit was providing flights, but they were expensive and limited.
But what proof what proof did you submit to that?
They come from the aeronautic. It's the office that controls everything, which they say that they have limited space, limited spots available on Spirit, which was the only airline operating. And then when
hold on. Did you submit evidence of that with your N400?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. And then what about you in particular? What efforts did you make, and what documentation of those efforts did you provide to USCIS?
Yes. When I was about to come to the States, more or less in August, I got the COVID and I got pneumonia after. So I submitted all the paperwork that the doctor gave me, where he strongly suggested that I needed oxygen, and after oxygen, I needed breathing therapy in order to expand my lungs. So he prohibited me to fly during 2 months while I was doing the therapy. I provided all of those documents, of course, plus the tickets that I got to return in early December that were canceled by COPA due to the COVID restrictions, and they gave me a new one to come in January. And it was the only thing that they could have given me. They didn't give me a letter or anything. They just said that they couldn't put me in the airplane.
So walk me through the timeline. When did you leave the United States? When did you start to come back and get COVID? And then when did you actually come back?
Perfect. I work with film. So in December, early December, the 8th, I flew to Colombia to visit.
Of what year? 2019, 2020? Which year?
2019. And then in January 2020, I flew to Mexico for production, came back to Colombia to set up another production in March, early March, and then the country was shut down. So I couldn't return. When I couldn't return, I waited until August, and when I was about to get into August, I got sick with the COVID. And then all these things happened.
When did it reopen? That you said that shut down in March. When did it reopen?
When they shut down in March, in April they opened with the Spirit operating as an airline, but the tickets were insanely expensive, and Spirit only operates Texas and Florida, if I'm not wrong. And from my city was the flight that goes to Fort Lauderdale, but it was like $2,000. It was way too much what they were asking.
Did you submit evidence of that?
No, I only submitted the evidence from the aeronautic stating that they only have one airline operating, and the seats were very limited.
Well, so here's what I think. Let me sort of lay it out for you where my mind goes. Okay, so first of all, let's put COVID to the side just for a minute, and let's talk about generally what my experience has been, what our firm's experience has been, because really it's my wife Amani who's handled a lot of these things. But the issue of abandoning your residence for purposes of getting your citizenship, I would say that 5-6 years ago, this was almost a non-issue. That as long as you kept a house, paid your taxes, everything, they were cool. As long as you didn't like almost give back your green card, right? Or if you had a credible or important reason why that you stayed out of the United States. And we're not worried about you having enough time in the United States, right? Like that's not an issue. It's just the trip of more than 6 months that you're worried about. Is that fair?
Correct. Yeah, that's what she paid attention to, and she said that she thought that maybe I was out of status, and that's the reason why she couldn't give me a decision right away. And then she asked me for the documents. I said, here, I have the documents that support what happened to me.
So like 6 years ago, they started getting much tougher on this. This is sort of when they wanted to do more of an enforcement kind of a thing, wanted to hold people's feet to the fire. And I would say they sort of raised the level of evidence that you have to give them.
Okay.
So that's before COVID. So we've had cases in the office where a mother got sick in Italy, where a woman herself got sick from Lebanon. So we've had situations which didn't involve COVID that USCIS basically, and this is why I kept pushing you on what evidence about your case that you submitted.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that about 6 years ago, they started requiring more than general information about conditions in the country or conditions with the airlines or conditions in America, right?
Yeah.
So things got harder. Now with COVID, in my mind, you're one of the first people that I've talked to, and we haven't had many cases that I know of in the office recently that sort of take on this issue of COVID plus trip outside the United States for more than 6 months. So where do I land then? Well, I land on things are probably still at that higher level of burden that you have to show enough evidence that if I were your lawyer, I would have pushed to develop a little bit more evidence, and I really would have nailed down that timeline, probably even with an affidavit from you outlining exactly why.
The affidavit.
Hmm?
I made an affidavit where I show them step by step what happened to me on the trip.
Good.
That
So,
was my control in the end.
And what field office was this?
Los Angeles, downtown. It's 300 North Los Angeles.
Yeah, so I think you'll be okay. I think this case will probably be approved, but I want everyone to know that you can't just rely on the facts of or things that you know to be true, like the Columbia Air Authority didn't let people really come unless it was an emergency or something. That's stuff you really need to nail down, and really for all these, you need to show what's up in your case as opposed to just general conditions. And I really think what I was telling people during COVID was I thought it was really important that you keep track of your efforts to actually get back.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I try to show all of that, including the tickets that I got in the end with Copa, and also, well, the letter that says yes, there was only one airline, and people to go back, so it was difficult. And not only that, because it wasn't a humanitarian flight, it was expensive, and I had bad luck in the end with the COVID because it was severe in my case, and
it does sound like you had a pretty severe case.
Yeah. Luckily,
so altogether, Camilo, how long were you out altogether?
1 year. It was 1 year.
More or less than a year?
It was more 15 or 16 days more than a year, because they my flight.
So that's what she meant when she said, "I'm worried you're out of status." That's a little bit different. That changes the equation a little bit. I think they might go a little harder on you, and maybe not approve your case, but also not like try to take your green card. I don't know. This is like a new issue for them, and I haven't seen any real guidance on it. I can try to see if there's any guidance on how they're treating it now, but knowing Biden's team, they're pretty lazy and they aren't doing much to help immigrants. So I'm not sure that we're gonna be able to know for sure until you get your decision.
No, she told me I was good with my residence. No worry, here's your residence. You can travel if you need to, because I'm an artist. If you have work outside, you can do it. But to me, it seems like she didn't know the law pretty well, also, because then she said, "Oh," I said, "Well, if I get denied and I travel, what happens to me?" Then she said, "Oh, it's up to the officer that is in immigration at the airport if he lets you in or not." And I was like,
"Well, what happened when you came through customs?"
Nothing. He let me go. I told him what happened, and he says, "I perfectly understand. Don't worry, you're not out of status."
Did he bring it up, or did you bring it up?
I talked to him and I said, "Here is what I've got. This is what happened." And he says, "No worries, go."
Okay. Well, if you do me a favor and let me know how it all turns out, I'd really be interested, because this will help me advise other people.
Yeah, I could even email you all the documentation that I gathered. And
I don't need that. I don't need that so much, but if you could just let me know the result, that would be great.
For sure. I'll keep you updated. Good
luck, my friend.
Thank you.
Bye, Camilo.
Bye.
Yeah, so I think he did everything he could. That's an interesting case. I've seen this a lot before COVID, and I knew that it was going to be an issue during and after COVID. And now we're going to start seeing some actual decisions out of the agency on this issue. Maybe I'll do a video on this. This would be something good for us to research and try to get a little bit more information on for Camilo and other folks. Let's say hi to Kyra. Kyra, are you driving? Are you driving, Kyra? I don't think she can hear us. All right, let's see. Is Dina there? Dina, are you there?
Hey, Jim.
Hi, Dina.
I've been watching you guys. So you guys are great and stuff, and you've been really helpful to me.
Thanks.
I actually just got my interview yesterday with my husband, and then I found out on that interview that I'm actually in removal proceedings.
Yeah, that can happen. So tell me, when did you enter the United States?
I came in as a J1 on 2016.
And were you subject to that 2-year rule that you have to go back home at the end of your J1?
No.
You sure? Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
Was it work and travel? Were you coming to work in a hotel or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So you probably weren't subject. Okay. So 2016, and then how did you end up in removal? Did they send you a notice and you didn't know about it, or what happened?
After my J1, I applied for the B2 visa to extend my status, because that's when I met my now husband.
Yeah.
And then that was approved, and then I tried reapplying again after that expired, but that got denied. So that's, I guess, how they.
But then you must have sat on your butt and not applied through your husband right away.
He was LPR at the time.
Got it. So let me see if I can piece this together. So you come on a J1, you want to stay longer, so you file for a B1, B2 change of status. That's granted. Then you file for another extension, which was not granted, and then that A number with not granting it, they also put you in removal. Did you never got a copy of the notice to appear?
I didn't get a notice to appear like that says come to this immigration court or anything like that. I did receive a biometric looking notice, which I ignored because yeah, it was super weird. It said like come in this location to get your biometrics taken and stuff like that. So I thought it was like a mistake because I didn't file anything at the time, and I didn't go. So
But did you get a notice to appear in immigration court? Like, did you have a court hearing date?
no, that's
And
why I never went to the immigration court because I didn't know about it.
So okay. So fast forward, your green card husband now has his citizenship,
Mm-hmm.
and is it only after he becomes a citizen that he files the I-130 for you?
Yes, we filed concurrently, but yeah, and
So
he approved.
he approved the I-130
Mm-hmm.
yesterday.
Yes.
I'm interested, Dina, at what point in the conversation did he mention that you were in deportation?
That was actually the first thing he said. Like, yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Did you have
Did you know? He said, did you know that you were in deportation? Did you go to the court? Whatever, whatever. Yeah.
and was a lawyer there with you, or were it just you and your husband?
It was just me and my husband.
Did the immigration officer give you any information about the status of the deportation case?
Yes, he did give me a paper, and he said, luckily I'm not on absentia,
That's exactly right.
or yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
yeah. He said, I'll definitely need a lawyer for filing the motion to dismiss it.
Yeah. So you don't. Did he say, or do you know now, having looked it up, whether or not you have a court date coming up?
Yes, I did look it up. I just found out that I can look up the case publicly, and it's for next year, June, if I'm not mistaken.
So COVID probably saved your butt. Which immigration court is this?
It's the Baltimore.
Ah, okay. So this is good. This is good. I mean, good as it is. So you've picked the best time ever to ask to have your deportation stopped. Like, the Biden team is very willing to stop deportations to let you. What did he do with your 45? Did he administratively close it, or did he deny it?
I looked at it online. It's still just reviewing.
So that's good. So here's what needs to happen. You need a lawyer to enter their appearance in the Baltimore Immigration Court and say, hey, Dina has this approved I-130 hot off the presses. USCIS just said that this is a real marriage, and they approved the I-130, but the USCIS can't give her green card because jurisdiction, her case, is stuck with you in the immigration court. So would you be willing to terminate proceedings, not close them, but terminate them, end them, so that jurisdiction of her green card goes back to USCIS, and hopefully you can save the filing fee and not have to file a new 485 and say, now that jurisdiction is back with USCIS, can you call us in for another interview and give me a green card? And that those are really fun cases to work on, because you basically get to go from the basement, which is, deportation, to one step below citizenship. So I really like working on those cases. So you're in good shape, and you're sort of lucky, because when an I-130 is filed while someone's in deportation, you have to show even more so that your marriage is real. You have to show by clear and convincing evidence. So
So I think I did that part good, I guess.
Yeah, you must have. Yeah, you must have, to your credit. So really now it's just a matter of getting the immigration judge and the deportation lawyers for the government to pay attention and say, hey, this is a good lady. She's eligible to adjust. USCIS already said that her marriage is real. So can we go ahead and stop the deportation so that we can go back to Baltimore, USCIS, and get her green card? And they should say yes.
Okay. And do you have like any idea how long it usually takes? Do I have to like wait for the hearing itself?
No,
Or-
hopefully not. No, hopefully you'll be able to get their attention on it in 2 or 3 months, get that part taken care of, and then hopefully USCIS will just sit on your 485 till then, and then you just send them a copy. We had to ask the judge 3 times in Milwaukee to terminate proceedings, and then we had to reach out to USCIS in Milwaukee 2 or 3 times to get them to realize they had control over your 485 again. So, I would say, maybe early part of next year, end of this year, early part of next year, if you started on it today.
Okay. And how much would it be to get represented by your
Yeah,
office?
so probably the I-130 is already approved, so probably about 4,000.
4,000?
Mhm.
Okay. And how do I go about like hiring you guys?
Yeah, so you can
Whatever.
you can leave a private chat comment with your contact information on here on
Mhm.
StreamYard, or you can email. Juli or Romel will put the email address in the comments, and you
Okay.
just email them and say, "Hey, I was just on the show with Jim. Can you guys follow up, and we'll reach out to you tomorrow."
Okay. Okay. I think that's everything because you already answered the I-485 refiling or whatever.
Yeah, fingers crossed you can save the 1225 and not have to refile it. That's why I was asking what the officer did with the 485.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thanks, Tina. Have a good night.
You too. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
all right. Well, that was a fun case. I love working on those cases. We've helped a lot of people. A lot of times that happens when people apply for asylum and then they get referred to the immigration court, and those cases take 5 or 6 or 7 years and they end up marrying a U.S. citizen. So those are fun cases to work on. Hopefully Dino will let us work on hers. Let's say hi to Ahmed. Ahmed, are you with us?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for the opportunity. I have a couple of questions. One is related to my wife's case. We kind of like waiting for an interview, and I just wanted to ask for like how long on average before Cairo schedules an interview.
When did the National Visa Center start processing your wife's case?
So it was actually, we had a priority date of March 2021. And in March 2022, the NVC approved the case. Like they said that they got all the documents and everything.
Yeah.
And we just like waiting. They said just wait for an appointment for an interview date.
I'm thinking between October and December. And
yeah.
people, you might want to, Ahmed, you might want to check out the comments later on Facebook and YouTube, because people will chime in. The people who watch the show have a lot of information that I don't have about what they're seeing on Cairo and stuff. But I would say 6 to 8 months from now, from March.
From March. Okay, so that's actually what I heard from another lawyer. Thank you. The other question is related to my mom's case. She had an interview yesterday, and she got approved for it was like a green card process, and now
In America.
Yeah. Well, no, she in Morocco.
Okay.
And we want to sort of like apply for my sister. She's under 21. She's 19 now. Yeah. Like, do we apply for I-130 when my mom comes here, or do we start the process right away when she gets her passport and she picks?
Yeah, I think your best bet is going to wait until she actually physically has her green card. So have her come, and hopefully she gets her green card in a couple of weeks. And then I'd be working on getting it ready so that you can file as soon as she gets it. I would encourage you to wait until she actually gets the green card to file that. And then if she wants to go back and hang out with your sister until that's approved, then she would file for a reentry permit that would allow her to stay outside for up to 2 years.
So she has the right to stay out for more than 2 years?
If she gets a reentry permit, yeah. So I would say have mom come for 4 or 5 months, get your sister's case underway, file for a reentry permit for your mom, and then if she needs to go back to take care of your sister in Morocco, handle it that way.
Got it. And the other thing, can she, like, for instance, once she gets the green card, let's say she wants to just be here for 20 days or for as long as it takes to get the green card, is that okay? Or like she comes and go?
She can. The one thing that you need to keep in mind is she doesn't want to be outside for more than 6 months. And also, when somebody gets an immigrant visa, gets a green card, comes to the United States, and then leaves right away, usually USCIS won't consider any of that time towards their 5 years towards citizenship, if that makes sense. So if citizenship's on the table, that's going to screw that up. But if you don't care about that, then as long as she's not gone for more than 6 months, everything's cool.
She can go, and she can, like, even like if she comes for 20 days and leaves, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, after a while, if she keeps doing that, after a while, they're going to give her trouble. But if it's to settle things, well, I mean, if she's applying for a reentry permit, I would say she should stay until she gets fingerprinted. So that'll be more than 20 days.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's very helpful. I really appreciate it. Oh, the other thing is, I'm sorry. The other question is, like, when, so let's say for women with the burqa, the niqab, is that, like, how does that work with the U.S., with the U.S. consulate?
What's the question?
So, like how some Egyptian women are, like, they wear niqab. I don't know if you're familiar with the term.
Yeah, I am.
So,
sure.
like, is that like okay for, like, during the interview and stuff? Like, how does that work?
They'll want a picture of her without her face covered.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think that they might want to see her face while they're interviewing her, at least for a minute. At
Right.
least that's how they've done it here. I think it'll make her case harder to get approved.
In what terms? Because that's actually my concern.
Yeah, they'll give her a hard time and they'll sit on her case.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm not understanding. Like, in what regards?
So when you go to your green card or when you go to your immigrant visa interview, 3 things can happen.
Yeah.
One is they can approve it.
Uh-huh.
One is they can refuse it for some reason, and the third reason is they can just sit on it. Right. So I think that if she shows up in niqab, the chances of them just sitting on her case increase.
I see. Got it. Okay, we'll see. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You got it, Ahmed. Have a good night.
Take care. You too.
See you, bud. All right. Let's say to Milos. Hey, Milos.
Good. How are you, Jim?
Great. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Now I have one question for you. You don't remember me. I was like, you had so many people on your show. A long time ago, I talked to you and I explained the situation that I was, I'm here like 13 and a half years living in the United States. In Virginia, actually, I used to live. I was married here. Yeah, I get married in 2013. No, actually in 2012. In 2013, I had an interview for the green card with my wife at that time. Everything was okay. We were separated on an interview. Everything was fine. We lived together in that time, like already 4 years. When an interview got finished, I've been told, that a green card will be issued like in a period of 30 to 90 days. 8 years passed. They never issued. You're probably going to remember the case. So I've been called for another interview on the 2021. I get divorced from my wife in 2019. I never received the green card. Never received anything. I even include Senator Mark Warner. I had a ombudsman. I had all of them emailing the USCIS, trying to see what's going on with my case. Long story short, I was married, like I said, for almost 9 years. I found out that my wife was cheating on me, which I have all proofs and phone, and her son was telling me all the things that I have. In 2021, I've been called for the second interview. My girlfriend at that time told me, she was like, hey, you have to get a lawyer. So I hired an over-the-counter lawyer, how I called him, because it was just 2 days or 3 days that I have to find a lawyer.
What kind of lawyer?
I called him an over-the-counter. I called him those lawyers like a first aid right away. You call someone and they're like, oh, I'm available. I can jump in.
Better call Saul. Yes.
Better call Saul. Yeah. So I went to the interview. On an interview, I've been asked the same question that I've been asked on an interview that was like almost 9 years ago.
Weren't you divorced?
2019.
And you were divorced when you showed up 2 years later at the second interview, which was 8 years after the case was filed?
Yes.
So
Yes.
So, what was the goal in proceeding with the interview?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
They
the case
called me
should have been
for-
with
yeah.
the case should have been withdrawn once you got that interview notice.
Yeah, so they called me for an interview and they said, well, after all the questions that I answered, which was the same questions that happened almost 10 years ago, I answered everything because I know that they have everything recorded on the camera in the first interview and the second interview. And the guy said to me, well, since the decision was never made in the first time, we're going to use this date as a decision. So since you're divorced, we're going to make decision that we can approve you for the green card. But this is the funniest thing. He said, I'm not going to issue the deportation letter to you because there is no reason to. And, I cannot tell you what you have to do, but I can advise you, you live with your girlfriend, so maybe you can apply again. Which I was like, I'm going to get married what I wanted to, not when you telling me to do it. Like, why would I do that? So when I finished with that, I went to the lawyer. Lawyer told me, just give me 3 days. I will give you a call. I will see what's going on. I contacted another lawyer from New York, and she recommended me to get the Freedom of Information Act. She was like, something's going on because that's the strangest case I ever heard. Like that they left you like that. So long story short, what happened? That interview happened in July 2021. They supposed to send the letter with explanation why they're denying me. They never sent the letter, but 2 months after, they sent me the letter to go to do the fingerprints for my work authorization card, which I did in September.
So they were renewing your
From
work card
September.
they were renewing your work card the whole time.
I was renewing my work card like 8-9 years. The whole point is like right now, I don't know what's going on with my lawyer. He said that he didn't receive anything from them. We still didn't heard anything, what's going on with my case and why I've been denied. It passed already. Like I supposed to receive that letter in August 12th, 2021.
You never
I
received,
never received it.
no denial
No.
notice. And
No.
when you type in the case number, what does it say?
Your case was denied.
Oh, but
And we will let you know. We will send you the letter with explanation so the lawyer can send the appeal, right? Based on why they rejected me, he's supposed to send the appeal on that. Am I right or not?
No, what's to appeal? The case is dead. As soon as you got divorced, the case is dead. If your wife, they can't approve an I-130 if you're divorced. That case was over. Nothing. Who's ever been handling this are a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, I know that.
Once you got divorced, the I-130 was unapprovable. They don't have the authority to approve it. So nothing good would happen by having you show up there for an interview.
So I don't understand then why they called me, because right now in a situation, what's going on? Like they're not deporting me. They never send a letter for deportation.
Yeah.
I'm still having, I have a company here. I'm a physical therapist here, but I didn't want to get vaccinated. So I opened my trucking business here and I'm having a trucking business here, so I'm just trying to see my family. I want to go back to Europe and see my mom, see my grandma. I'm not able to go because I have a business here. I still have
No, you're not able to go. You're not able to go because if you leave, they're not going to let you back in for 10 years.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just trying to see what I can do since I never received a letter for deportation. Are they going to really leave me here without any documents?
Well, for one, you're not getting your mail, so that's a problem. You might have a deportation order. You might have a deportation here.
The lawyer said that he never received anything.
I don't care if the lawyer received it. You need to check your A number on the 1-800 number to see every Monday you need to call and see if you've been put into removal. You also do need to do a Freedom of Information Act request to get the entire file or get what you can. The I-130 was filed by your ex-wife, so only she can get that. They won't give that to you. But step back for a minute. What's the long-term plan here? I don't understand what you have no status. You haven't had status for 2 years. So
they sent me the letter after the interview was been done, and after I supposed to get the letter with explanation why I have been denied. I'm getting the letter to go and do my fingerprints for renewal of my work authorization card.
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't give you any status. That's left hand not knowing what right hand's doing. That's your renewal came up before they clicked the box that said your case was denied. So that doesn't give you any status.
So what do you suggest me to do? Is there anything that I can do? Can I somehow go to immigration court? Because I'm trying to do anything
why do you want to go to immigration court? You're going to get deported. You don't have a defense. What's your defense to deportation?
So what I had to do, should I stay with a woman who was cheating on me just to prove them that I was married? Should I bring her on an interview and said, hey, we are together now just to prove you that we are together?
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting. No, I'm not suggesting that. Nobody's suggesting that. But it's not their fault or their problem that she cheated on you. The fact that she cheated on you doesn't give you any status. So what is the plan for you to get into status? The only plan that would work is if you married a U.S. citizen and it was a real marriage. The reason, the reason that they dragged out your case and the reason they called you in for that other interview is not about that first case. It's to screw you on case number 2. They want to make you out to be a liar, that the first marriage was fake, so that when you apply with a new person, they're going to say you're just marrying whoever you can to get a green card. And now they have a whole second set of testimony from you on an interview that you never should have given.
Right. But the thing is that they never had anything against my marriage. I was married, like, we lived together.
It doesn't
for 9
matter.
years.
The marriage was over before the case was approved. So by definition, it was unapprovable. So you have no status. So you have lots of arguments as to the way they did things wrong. Yeah. Okay. So what? Doesn't mean shit. Doesn't get you any status.
Right.
So
you think that I cannot do anything, right? Only other option is like just to marry someone else.
And it has
like
to be
a
real.
legal marriage. Well, of course, yeah.
It has to be real. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. But at the same time, you should tonight file a G639 online. It's free. And you say, I want all immigration paperwork. Put in your name, your case number. And then every Monday, you should pick up the phone and dial 1-800-898-7180. Wait for the prompts, 1-1, and then put in your A number. Because sooner or later, they're going to send your case to deportation court. And it doesn't matter that you have a business. It doesn't matter you want to go see people overseas. You have no status.
But so why can expect what can I expect on an immigration court? I mean, I don't understand.
So here's what happens in deportation court. They're going to say, your name is Milos. You're from so-and-so country. You're not a U.S. citizen. You entered the United States on this day. You did not leave on time. You have no status in the United States. And then you and your lawyer are going to have to admit or deny each of those allegations. And then you're free to list any defenses you have to deportation. So far, I haven't heard any from you of why you shouldn't be deported. There's no legal basis for you to stay. And then the judge is going to say, Mr. Milos' lawyer, what's Milos's position? He's going to say, I don't know, judge. I don't have anything. Okay, deported. That's it.
Okay, perfect. So I cannot sue them. I cannot do anything, right?
Sue them? What in the world would you sue them for?
Or
what did they do wrong?
Making decision for 9 years.
That you should have filed that lawsuit 4 years ago. Now a decision's been made. That's a totally different thing.
Right.
Can't sue them now.
Thank you, Jim.
Good luck, Milos. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
See you, my friend. All right, everybody. That'll do it for today's show. Like I said, I'll be back with a special Memorial Day edition on the Memorial Day this Monday, 1 p.m. Central. We'll see you then. You know, if you're not on our email list or our I should say on our text list, I might move that Monday one. I might do it earlier. I might do it later, depending on what we're doing. So it'd be a good idea for you to text the word show to 314-470-3300, 314-470-3300. Just Slack that over or text that over and you'll be added, and we'll make sure that we tell you exactly when Monday. We're only doing shows Monday and Tuesday next week because I have a conference the rest of the week. And then the last thing is, if you could do us a big favor, we're really pushing hard to get over our 500 reviews, 500 5-star reviews. So if you could hop on reviewhackinglaw.com, leave us a review, a 5-star review would be a big help and get us to 500 before the end of May. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night, and we'll